Hi, everyone. How are you all doing this evening? Welcome. This is Whole and Beautiful, and I am Angela Oliphant, your host. And I am so glad that you all have joined me tonight for a night of information, revelation, and change. It is going to be another phenomenal night, like always. It's always a good show. It's always, like I said, it's always a good day to have a good day. And today is the same. It's a good day just to have a good day. I wanted to go over some things with you all before I get started with tonight's show, and that is my email, wholebeautiful@gmail.com. I want you all to send me an email. I want to know what you're thinking about the show, about the difference now that I'm on the TV portion and not so much the radio. I wanted to know how you're liking the show. What things are you receiving? Or is it better for you? I just want to know how you're feeling out there. So make sure that you send me an email at wholebeautiful@gmail.com, and I will be looking for those emails. Also, I have a show called, a segment in my show that is called Couples Conversations. And what I want to do with that show is I want to talk to couples, and I want to just see how marriage is for them. We're going to talk about healthy marriages. We're going to talk about what it takes to have your marriage work and have your marriage go forward. So I want you to send me an email, wholebeautiful@gmail.com, and let me know if you know of a couple that would love to be on the show that I could interview, that would like to share their story, whether their story is flowing one way or the other. I want to know. I want everyone to see that we're all different, and we can make our marriages work, and we can work through different things together. We talking about transition this month, and we're going to continue on throughout the rest of the year to talk really about transition, because that happens to us all the time. So send me that email. Let me know of any couples that are out there that would like to be a part of the segment that I call Couples Conversations. Also, I have a segment that I call Mentoring Moments. And on that Mentoring Moment segment, I like to talk to some men who are making a difference in their community, who's making a difference in some other young man's life. And I want you to send in their name. Let me know who they are. Let me know if they would like to be interviewed. If you're that person, let me know if you would like to be interviewed here on Whole and Beautiful, because we would love to talk to you, to see what you're doing in your community, to see what you're doing with your family, to see how you're making a difference in someone else's life, because that's what we want to do, is make a difference. With my Whole and Beautiful Nation, we want to make a difference in somebody else's life. So if you want to be a part of the show, or you would like to recommend someone or refer someone to me, make sure that you send me that email at wholebeautiful@gmail.com. Okay, guys, I'm looking for the emails, and I'm expecting great things with those emails, because I'm expecting to have some awesome guests on, so you all can see their journey. You all can see their story. And the reason why I share that story is so that you know that you're not alone. We all go through things. We all have to go through transitions. We all go through these different areas, whether the transition is like great or whether it's small. We go through transitions continually. So therefore, I want everyone else to know, hey, I'm not in this by myself. I got somebody else out there. I can go back and listen to that person's story. I can listen to what they said, what they did, how they handled their transition, and it can help me handle mine. I want our lives to be great. I want them to be wonderful. And I want you to know that your journey may look different from someone else's journey, but it's still whole and beautiful. It's still awesome. And your journey is precious to you. So make sure that along the way that you're embracing every moment of every day, and that you're not allowing those moments to pass you by, that you are really enjoying life to the fullest. It wasn't until I turned like about 48, 49, getting close to 50, that I realized, man, you need to enjoy your life. You really need to enjoy you. You really need to embrace who you are. And that's what I try to get younger people to do, even in that their younger age, is to go ahead and embrace who you are now. It may not be where you want to be, but you're not where you used to be. So you can just embrace who you are right now so that you can move forward and continue to go forward and continue to be who God has called you to be. It's an awesome place. And we only are in this earth, for our lifetime. So while we're on this earth, we want to make an impact. We want to make a difference, not only in the lives of the people that are around us, but in our own lives. Because when we make that impact in us and we change, we can change a whole entire world just by what we do, just by what we say. And it may be your world, it may be the people that you are around continually, because we're all leaders. So I want you to be able to lead well. You may not know that that person is watching you. You may not know that that person is patterning their life after you. So you want to make sure that you live your best life every single day. Now, this month we had been talking about transition, and I talked to a few people. I talked to, a couple of people. I talked to Joy King, and I also talked to Ruth Griffin. And both of these ladies talked about transition. When we talked to Joy, she was talking about the Reinvented Woman. And I'm going to show you this book, guys, The Reinvented Woman. And I know The Reinvented Woman. I want you to get this book. I want you to contact her. If you can't contact her, contact me and I will get you in contact with her. But The Reinvented Woman is a book about transition. We talked to her about her business transitioning. We talked about her transitioning to a whole nother state, to moving that change, and for her getting remarried later in life. And she's gotten remarried. And it's just been a transition for her. But if you listen to that show, she was so excited about how her life is going now. And she learned to embrace the change, embrace that transition, and she is flourishing in it. It all matters how we respond to a thing. Instead of reacting to that transition and saying, oh, this thing didn't go the way that I wanted, I quit, I give up, I am tired. No, embrace it. Embrace the transition, embrace that change, and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to move forward. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to live, and I will not die. I will live and go forward and declare the works of the Lord in the land of the living. You want to make sure that you're being your best, even in the midst of transition. It can be a very delicate time for you. But know that as you walk through that transition, you're going to come out on the other side, and you're going to be better because of it. Because in the midst of it, you learn. You learn. For every mistake that may have been made, that mistake can turn into a message, and you can learn from that. It may be the platform from which you speak. So that way you look at that transition and say, you know what? This may have been unanticipated. I may not have known that this thing was going to happen this way, that it was going to go this way. But you know what? I embrace it anyway. I'm excited anyway. I'm going to rejoice anyway. I'm going to have an awesome time anyway. Why? Because this transition is going to teach me. It's going to bring me to a new place. And when I come out on the other side of this, I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to embrace my change. And a lot of us don't want to, but embrace the change. Embrace the change that comes. Some of us don't want to embrace that transition, like from when you are a child into adulthood. Some people don't want that. Sometimes they say that they do. Hey, I want to be grown. Hey, I can't wait till I'm 20. I can't wait till I'm 21. And then when they reach it, they were like, oh, I want to be back a child again. But I want you to embrace every part of your life. Don't let any part of it be a regret. Don't let any part of it be where, you know what? I shouldn't have did that, and you beat yourself up because of the mistakes. No, embrace them and say, you know what? This is what I learned from that. And if I didn't learn from that, I learned not to do that again. If that's what I've learned, then that's what I've learned. To not go that route again, to not do that again. And some things you learn and you say, oh, okay, yes, this has helped me grow. This has helped me to become a better person. This has given me some wisdom that I can now share with somebody else. So embrace your transition. And if you can, get the book, The Reinvented Woman. It's going to be an awesome read for you, and it's going to help you with your reinvented self. Yes, you're going to reinvent. And after so many years, you reinvent yourself again. You just continually change. And that's what the awesome part is that we get to change. We don't have to stay the same. Just like we grow up from that baby into adulthood, we're going to continue to grow. And at every season in your life, embrace it, enjoy it, because it's somebody that didn't get to that season. So embrace that season that you're in while you're in that transition. Don't let it weigh you down. Don't let it weigh on you, but allow it to build you and allow it to grow you up. So you all make sure that you get The Reinvented Woman. Make sure that you look for that book, Joy King. You can find it on Amazon, and you can send me an email, wholebeautifulgmail@gmail.com, and I can get you in contact with Joy and get you that book. I wanted to talk a little bit about Ruth and her change, her transition. Her transition is just awesome. And Ruth talked to us about being diagnosed with bipolar, and then how she is married and how they had to work together through that and how they came out on the other side of that. And that is all in her book. When Love is Angry. When Love is Angry. I want you to try and get that book, When Love is Angry, because it is an awesome book. And her husband speaks and she speaks. He speaks about how he felt. She speaks about how she felt during the same exact times, but neither one of them knew how the other one felt, because at that time they were not having good communication. You want to get the book, because in here it helps you to see that you can walk through that transition. And they were not walking through it like together, so to speak, as getting together and communicating about what they were going through. He was going through what he was going through. She was going through what she was going through. But in the end, they still ended up together. And that is an awesome testimony. And you want to read about that testimony. And When Love is Angry, you want to go and you want to read the book. And I wanted to share with you something that her husband said in this book that it really ministered to me. And I wanted to share this with you and think about it in your transition. He said he realized that a gift from God will always be a gift, even if the person receiving it doesn't realize it. That spoke volumes. He says that you never want a gift given to you rescinded and given to another. And if you've ever had that happen, you know the hurt that is associated with that. That really spoke a lot to me, because sometimes when transition comes, we look at it as a tragedy or as something that's horrible. But we need to see that transition in our lives as a gift. It is a gift to us. It is a gift for us to change. It is a gift for us to walk through. It could be an ending of a thing and then the beginning of a new thing. So we need to learn how to embrace every transition that we face, whether it's getting older, whether it's transitioning out of this job into another job, whether it's loss, because we talked about loss, like on the 10th, we talked about loss, and I told you a story about my dad, and I talked about my dad and celebrated him, because on the 10th of September, he would have been 70 years old, and he didn't make it to see 70. And but like I told you, during that time, I could let that part of the loss, the transition there, just weigh me down to the point where I was not moving and not going forward. Yes, Josie, it's not always easy, but it's always worth it. It's worth just embracing that transition embracing that transition and saying, you know what? I'm going to make it on the other side. I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to come out on the other side. With the loss of my dad, it was a transition that, like I said, I knew that it was going to come because he was ill. But when it happened, it still had an impact on my life. But I didn't allow it to have a negative impact. I sat and I dealt with the grief, but then I also remembered so many joyful things. And that night, if you go back and see that broadcast, I laughed so much and I loved it. Why? Because I remember the good times. I remember the laughter. And during that time when I remembered that laughter, it just brought joy to my heart to remember my dad that way, and not so much remembering the illness and remembering all the other things that he had to go through, but remembering all the joy that he brought to my life and to my sister's lives and to the lives of those who were around him. So we have to embrace every part of our transition. Like I told you before, there's going to be loss. There's going to be an ending. There's going to be a beginning. There's going to be change. And we have to embrace it as we go along. I always try to look at the positive side of everything. Why? It's not because I'm looking at it and thinking and pretending that this thing that may be negative is not there. I see that it's there, but I choose the positive side. I choose to say, you know what? I'm going to have a great day anyway. This may not have worked out the way that I wanted it to, but you know what? I'm going to be okay. When I walked through my divorce, the divorce that I went through, I was not anticipating it coming. So when it did come, I was like, whoa, it threw me. It threw me for a loop. But you know what? I didn't stay in it. I said, God, I want to walk through this, and I want to walk through this with my dignity, with class, so to speak. You know, I wanted to forgive quickly. I wanted to do whatever I needed to do so that I could live, so that I could live. And I spoke those words to myself, that I would live and I would not die. I would live and declare the works of the Lord in the land of the living. I decreed that and declared that for myself. And I said, I will be free of any guilt. I'll be free of any shame, because sometimes shame tries to cover you in the midst of a transition where you think you're not going to come out, especially when you're walking through a divorce, or you lose a job, or you had such high esteem that you see like in the community or anything to that nature, and boom, your job is gone. Boom, these other things happen, and you're like, what are people going to think about me because I'm going through this? I may have had a lot, and now I'm down to having nothing. I may have been living in a mansion and living in this big home, and then now I'm down to living in an apartment, and I didn't plan for that to happen. But can I tell you something? You're going to be who you're going to be. Whether you're in that apartment or whether you're in that mansion, you are still you. So you need to do everything that you can to for yourself to make sure that you're the best of who you can be. And I tell people all the time, the way you find out who you are is to find out who Jesus is. When you find out who he is and you know who he is, then you find out who you are. You know him, then you know your purpose. You know what your purpose is in the earth. Sometimes inside, we already know what our purpose is, and we're so scared to walk in it. We're so scared to move in it. We are so scared of the transition. But I am here to tell you today to walk in that transition. Do it with your head held high and walk in it, and know that you know that you know you're going to conquer. You're going to move forward. You're going to be the best you that you can be. And enjoy it. Enjoy every moment of it. You don't get those moments back. We don't get time back. So every moment that you have, embrace it and enjoy it, because you don't get that time back. You can't go back in time and do these different things that you wanted to do. You can embrace the moment that you have right now and do everything that you possibly can do with the life that you have. You can make it great wherever you are. Wherever you are, if you are on a mountaintop and you're having that experience, you can make it great. If you are in a valley right now, you still can make that great. It's a great day to have a great day every day. And that's what I want you to do, is have a great day every day. Don't walk in shame. Don't walk in this place of, I don't want transition. I don't want the transition. Yes, you do. You want the change. And the change is going to come, and it's going to be awesome, and it's going to be great. So embrace it. Love the fact that, man, I get to change. Don't look at it as something that happened to you and you like, oh man, this happened to me, and you go into the negative. No, this is an opportunity for me to shine. Even in the midst of my darkest moment, I can shine because the light of the Lord lives on the inside of me. And I'm not going to hide my light for anybody. I'm going to let it shine even in the midst of my transition, even in the midst of tears, even in the midst of going through what I go through. I will still shine, and I will still let somebody else know you can make it, because we're going through. We're not just coming to this wall and not being able to get through. We are going through to the other side of this. So come on, go with me. Let us all go together. Let us all walk in there together. My whole and beautiful nation, come go with me. Let's go to the other side. Let's go to the other side. When Moses came to the Red Sea with everybody, they were like, how we getting through? And all he stepped out was the word from the Lord. He did what the Lord told him to do. The seas parted and they all went through. That is awesome. And that is great. And that is miraculous power. And we can walk in that also. You can get through your Red Sea experience and get to the other side. You just got to be obedient. You got to hear, and you got to do what you know you need to do. It is right there on the inside of you. So embrace it. Embrace every change that you get. Embrace the ending of a thing, because you know it's the beginning of a new thing. And I am looking forward to some beginnings. Guys, I want to talk to you, continue to talk to you about this transition, but the transition that I want to talk to you a little bit before the show is ending on tonight is branding. And I'm not talking about branding your business. I'm talking about branding yourself, branding your marriage, branding who you are. We look at a brand and we go after that brand for what reason? It's simply because we like it. Some of us like certain restaurants that we go to, and we'll tell the world about that restaurant. Why? Because we have a great experience every time we go. The food is always good, and we want to share that with somebody else. And when I began to look at a brand, and I looked at us as being people, I said, man, that kind of goes with the transition, that kind of goes with the change. And we need to be able to flow with some changes and brand ourselves. We need to be the same type of person that you see at my home is the same type of person you should see out in public. I shouldn't have to put on a mask to go outside to talk to people and then come home and have this whole different lifestyle. It should be just that I'm transparent and people are able to see me even at home and on the outside. Because what does a brand do? It builds trust, it builds value, and it builds loyalty. Trust, value, and loyalty. You can have that even in the midst of your marriage, even in the midst of your friendships. You need to be able to brand that. You need to be able to have trust in the midst of that. You need to be able to have value in the midst of that. And you need to be able to have loyalty. And when somebody is loyal to that brand, it doesn't matter what other brand comes out, they are always going to buy that particular brand. And somebody may say, well, this over here is better. They like, If they saying red is let's say red is a product and somebody's going to buy red and they love red and they love red and they love the loyalty, then they're loyal to that red. And then somebody else bring about blue. They're going to stick with the red. Why? Because red has been good to them. they have trusted Red for years, you know. They have valued Red for years, and they will stick with it no matter what somebody else does, because they're loyal to that brand. And we want that in our lives. That's why I say transition yourself, change. You're going to be consistent. It's like an oxymoron. It is like you are changing, but you are yet the same. What is yet the same? Your foundation. The foundation that you stand upon should still be the same, because your foundation should be in Christ. It should be a strong foundation that you have. And because you have that foundation, when the winds come and when the rains come, you may sway back and forth like the trees do, but you're not going to break, and you're not going to buckle under, and you're not going to give up. You need to make sure that you look at yourself and you say, okay, what is my brand? What am I permeating from myself to other people? What is flowing up out of me to other people? What do they see? Are they seeing a consistency? Am I kind all the time? And am I trying to help you all the time? Or am I kind to certain people? And then I switch over here. If I'm with this group, I be like this group. If I'm over here, I'm like the other group, like a salamander, where they change their colors. It's like if I'm over here with red, I change with red. If I'm blue, I change with blue. If I'm over here with this, I change with that. Or am I consistently being who I am? Consistency in being who I am. Whether you see me at the gala or whether you see me at the grocery store, that's that nice lady. That's that's that classy lady. That's that lady who loves the Lord. She'll pray with you in the grocery store, and she'll pray with you at church. You want to have that consistency about yourself. You want to know that people want to know that you're consistent. They want to know that you're there. They want to know that they can count on you. And when you're up and down and up and down, and one day I'm here and I'm over here and I'm doing this, and then the next day, nope, I'm switching up. And I'm not talking about changing as in I'm talking about your core of who you are. That needs to be consistent. That needs to be consistent. We may change our clothes. We may change our hairstyle. We may change our nail color. I do that all the time. We may change all these different outward things about ourselves, but who are you at the core? Who are you at your core? Sometimes we have to look in the mirror and say, girl, who are you? Who are you for real? And be honest with yourself. And if you see some inconsistencies or you see some things, you be like, that needs to change. Then do what needs to be done to make the change. Like Ruth said a few weeks ago, about a week ago, when she was saying, no, she didn't want to get up at 5 a.m. to exercise, but she does it because why? It brings the results that she's looking for. So some things we may not want to do, but we do them because it's going to bring forth the results that we're looking for. Some restaurants, if I go to a certain restaurant here in Columbia, and then I go to another restaurant, the same restaurant in another town, I'm expecting the same service. I'm expecting the same greatness that I get here. I want to get there. And there are some restaurants and some places that offer that. No matter where you go, you're going to get that same consistency. You're going to get that same love. You're going to get that same warm, fuzzy feeling when you go in that you're welcome there. And then some places are not as consistent. And you can probably think off the top of your head, maybe like 1 or 2 places where you're saying, you know what, I get the same service wherever I go. And it makes you want to go back. It makes you want to be loyal to that business. Why? Because they're being consistent. No matter where you go, they're consistent and they're doing what they need to do as being that business that is serving you. And we need to be the same with each other. We need to be consistent. They need to know when they come to you that they're going to get that same loving person that they always get, that they're going to get that same consistency. If you're the person that's bringing the correction, they need to know, you know what? She loves me, but she's going to correct me. And if you listen to different people, they will talk about you and you will hear what they're saying, and you kind of figure out what your brand is, so to speak. But you don't allow the negative stuff that is not you to permeate you, to get inside of you. You know who you really are. So you need to step out and begin to be that. Be consistent. Be consistent. If you got a song at home, you're gonna have a song out in public. You're not gonna hide your song. If you got this joy at home, you're gonna have this joy when you're out. If you're a quiet person at home, you're gonna be quiet when you go out. If you loud, not saying like mean loud, but if you're loud at home, you're gonna be loud when you go out. If you're mean a lot of times at home, people will be mean when they go out, but some people are mean at home, but they seem like the sweetest thing when they out, because they're putting on a mask and they're not being consistent. They're not branding themselves. They're not allowing themselves to change. We got to allow ourselves to be molded and to be shaped into this awesome being that we know that we are. A lot of us have dreams and desires that are on the inside of us. And for them to come forth, we're going to have to change. We're going to have to change some things. And I say this a lot about myself, because for me to lose the weight that I want to lose, where I see in my head that I am, I have to do some things. Do I want to do some of those things? Nope, I sure don't. It's a lot of things, and I've even prayed about it. I know what to do. I just need to do it. And once I do it, it's going to bring about that change that I've been looking for. And I did it and was consistent with it for a while, and then I stopped. Then I did it, was consistent, and then I stopped. And I said, you know what? You just need to make a decision. And that's what some of us need to do. We just need to make a decision to embrace the change. Embrace it. Don't fight it. Don't fight the change. Embrace it. Now, am I saying to go with the negative? No, I'm always with the positive. Like I told you before, I want you to win on every side. So embrace your transitions. Some of them come unexpected, and we have to sit back sometimes and say, whoo, didn't know that was coming. But I can't, sit in depression. I can't sit and grieve over that transition forever. I have to get to the place where I said, okay, you know what? This happened. I wasn't expecting it to happen. But you know what? How do I make my way through it to the other side of it? I'm not going to lay down and die in it. I'm going to come out on the other side of it. So I need to learn how to embrace my transition and say, okay, this happened. But you know what? I'm going to be okay. I'm going to come out on the other side. And because I walked through it, I'm going to be able to share with somebody else how to get through it. They may not listen to every single thing that I say, but it may be just that one thing that I learned through my transition that I can share with you that'll help you get through yours. A lot of times we will say that one word from the Lord can change your life forever. One word. One word. Some of us are one word away from our victory. Just one word. One word. And if we can speak that one word, if we speak that we are victorious, if we speak that we are free, if we speak transition and change, I'm going to embrace transition. I'm going to embrace change. Kindness is a word that can change your life forever. Encouraging, just encouraging yourself can change your life forever. What is your one word? What is that one word that you can speak over yourself and say, you know what, I'm going to walk in this? One word. Yes, one word away from our victory. Thank you, Jackie. Yes, one word away. And you're right there on the verge of walking into it. And you can walk in it today. What is your one word? I want you all to realize that transition doesn't have to be horrible. It doesn't have to be this tragic thing that happens in our lives. It can be something that we embrace. We are often like really delicate in the midst of a transition. It's like we're in the midst of everything that's going on. Sometimes it's chaotic. Sometimes there's so much going on and you are not even realizing, man, I can breathe. I can come up for some air. And sometimes we don't have time to even think about breathing. And some people have to say breathe, because things are happening so fast and changes are coming so fast. But I am telling you today, if you will sit and you will begin to embrace the change, embrace the change of that next birthday that's coming, that you're saying, I don't want to, embrace that birthday. I embrace every birthday that I have. Why? It's another opportunity, another year for me to live, another year that God has blessed me with, because I know so many people that did not make it to their birthdays. So I am thankful for every birthday I have. I am thankful for every moment that I wake up in the morning and I open my eyes and I'm like, God, I thank you for another day. It's another day for me to transition and change. I'm changing every single day. It may be small changes and it's okay. It may be great changes and big changes that I'm like, whoo, that was a lot right there. But you know what? Embrace it. Don't let it like overpower you or overwhelm you. Just embrace it and say, okay, what can I learn from this change? What can I do with this change? It's just like that caterpillar that is inside that cocoon, and you see all that movement and all that stuff going on. But when they come through to the other side, it is a beautiful butterfly. And that's what we want to do. It's a journey. Your transition is a journey. But you know what? You're going to be so beautiful when you come out of it, and you are beautiful in the midst of it. In the midst of a transition, you shine forth with light. In the midst of a transition, you are still beautiful. It may not look like it to other people, but realize that even in the midst of it, I am beautiful. I don't have to wait until I get to a certain destination to be beautiful. I don't have to wait until the end of this and say, oh, this is the end and it's great. No, it can be great in the midst of it. Why? Because it's what my heart says, is where my foundation is who I am. And if in the midst of it, I see just that little bit of light, or even if I don't see the light that I want to see, I know that Jesus is with me. He never leaves me. He never forsakes me. He is always there. So you know what? Light is always there. I may not be able to see it with my natural eye, but by the Spirit on the inside of me, I can see the light. I can see the dawning of a new day. And it won't always be like this. It won't. It won't always be that things are happening like this. I have learned to embrace every moment of every day. And I want you to do the same. I want you to walk this journey out, live this journey to the fullest, knowing that your journey is a whole and it's a beautiful journey. It is. Even in the midst of chaotic times, even in the midst of everything that you go through, embrace your transition. Embrace it. And somebody may say, girl, what's going on with you? I'm changing. I'm walking through a transition. But you know what? I'm going to come out of this beautiful. And even while I'm in the midst of this, I am beautiful. I am wonderful. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And I am going to triumph even in the midst of what I go through. Even in the midst of what's happening, I shall forever praise and honor God, and I shall forever continue to move forward. I will not look back. Why? Because I don't know retreat. I don't know go back. Nope, I only know charge and to move forward. And that's what I'm going to do. If you have experienced loss, I'm not making light of that. I want you to embrace it. Embrace it. If you experience that loss of a loved one, of a friend, I have had so many friends and classmates and relatives that have passed just within this last year. It was overwhelming. Before I could even breathe through one, another thing was happening. And I said, you know what? I need to think about the good times, and I need to embrace this, and I need to walk through that grief process. And I allowed myself to walk through it, and I'm yet walking through and transitioning in the midst of it. But even in the midst of it, I can still have joy. Why? Because my joy comes from within. It's not coming from without. It comes from within. So I can still have joy. I may not get to the point where I'm like, I'm just over it. You may never get to that point. You may never get to the point where you like, man, I'm over it. That doesn't bother me anymore. It may be there for the rest of your days, because you have to get to the point where you learn to live without that person, or you learn to live without calling up that person because you used to call them and talk to them. You have to live without being able to do that. You have to learn to live life without them being here with you on earth. But you know what? Embrace the transition. Don't let it overwhelm you. Don't let it crush you, because you can live in the midst of it, and you can allow light to shine, not only to yourself, but to someone else. Guys, I am thanking you so much that you have joined me tonight, that you have been here, that you have listened. I hope that something that I said tonight has really ministered to your heart. I hope that you have embraced some of what has been said tonight, and that it is catapulting you to where you need to be. Because you know what? Whole and beautiful is not just your destination, it is most definitely your journey. Jackie, I thank you for your comments. I thank you that you're out there listening. And Victoria, I saw you put some things up. Thank you for listening. Josie, I saw you. I thank you for listening and commenting. And anybody else that's out there listening and that's listening tonight, I hope that something that I said tonight has really helped you. I want you to send me an email at wholebeautiful@gmail.com. Let me know how you like the show. Let me know if you want a topic discussed. I would be happy to bring someone on that can discuss that particular topic. And maybe you want to be that person that is interviewed. Let me know. Send me that email at wholebeautiful@gmail.com. Guys, I thank you, my whole and beautiful nation. I thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Remember that whole and beautiful is not just your destination, guys. It is most definitely your journey. Join me here to next week, Friday at 7 p.m. and tomorrow at 4 p.m. It will be a replay of the same show. So you can go back and you can listen again and share it with someone and let them know that transition can be powerful. It doesn't have to be all painful. It can be powerful. Okay, guys, have a great weekend and have a great night. And I will see you next week, 7 p.m., whole and beautiful. Good night.